your favorite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren Bowie, Daniel O'Brien, two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. I think you'll have a great time here. I think you'll have a great time here.
So, hello again and welcome to another episode of Quick Question with Soren and Daniel, the podcast where two best friends and comedy writers ask each other questions and give each other answers. I am one half of that podcast, senior writer for Last Week Tonight with John Oliver, author of How to Fight Presidents with Daniel O'Brien, and we are 1 week away from Thanksgiving, and you know what that means. It's Christmas, and I am the Christmas boy, Daniel O'Brien, joined as always by my co-host, Mr. Soren Bowie. Soren, say ho-ho.
Ho-ho! Oh, ho, ho. Why, hello, everyone. Why is a weird word that we, I know your fascination with but why is also one of those ones that, like, you shouldn't be allowed to start a sentence with it, but you can start any sentence with it.
I would love to, as soon as this podcast is done, get into the history and usage of why in the context of why, if I didn't know any better, I'd think you're up to something.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what function that does in that sentence. And I think you can leave it.
Why, hello.
Yeah.
I have to put some more thought into it. I'm not prepared to talk about that.
Wait a minute. You think you need to put some more thought than no thought? What?
Well, I don't generally for most things, but in this case, I'm willing to make an exception. Usually, if I think about it for 5 seconds, I'm like, well, exhausted that.
Yeah.
Whew, I'm tired.
This episode is sponsored by Uncommon Goods, an online shop dedicated to unique and high-quality gifts made by artists and independent businesses. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/QQ.
Are we really thinking about Christmas? Are you already buying Christmas presents?
I am already done buying Christmas presents.
Oh my God. When did you start?
I started it in October. I think this might be the habits of someone who grew up lower middle class with not a lot of money rearing its ugly head again. I was on strike and not making any money for 148 days. And then in October, I started making money again. And if you're poor and you have money, you spend it because you think, what if I never have money again? I'd better spend it now. Because when you're poor, no one teaches you how to be financially responsible. So as soon as I started getting paychecks again, I was like, great, now I can take care of Christmas. And what am I going to do in the future? It won't be Christmas in the future.
Right. Also, you don't know that money's going to stick around.
Right.
Money's so much more ephemeral when you don't have it, or
right.
when you grew up without it. It's sometimes money would show up and then someone would make a bad decision or something and be like, oh, the money's gone.
Right. Because when
just spend it.
And when you grow up without, I keep saying this, but I don't want to overstate our situation. We were a comfortably lower middle class family that we were never completely struggling. But I certainly didn't feel like a person who had money for most of my life. And when you are a person who fits that description, and then you do get money, you don't really think about what could happen if you lose that money because you know that already. You can live on ramen noodles and nothing. You've survived that way. So that is more comfortable than, oh my God, Grandpa gave me $50 for Christmas. I'd better buy a Charlotte Hornets starter jacket, right, or else this money is just going to keep sitting here, and I don't know what's going to happen to it.
Collecting dust. Yeah, I guess that's right. Congratulations on having bought your Christmas presents.
Thank you. And I'm very excited. I'm getting super into Christmas very early on. I think as soon as summer died and fall becomes winter, and I took the last fishing trip I'm probably going to take this season, then it's like, all right, we don't get trick-or-treaters in my building, so Halloween doesn't mean too much to me. And then it's just let's get on with Christmas now. Let's get hyped for Christmas. Our place smells like all the Christmas candles you could imagine. And we're as soon as this podcast is done, we're gonna decorate the apartment here on Friday, November 17th.
Okay. That's pretty early. You're gonna have it decorated already before Thanksgiving.
Well, here's something that I can run by you, that because when I lived in LA for 11 years, I would always come home to Jersey for Christmas and would usually spend a week or two in Jersey because you could work remotely, and most work shut down in our industry for the weeks around Christmas and New Year's. So I was like, well, I'm not going to dick around LA. I'll spend a good chunk of time with the people I grew up with and my family and all that. And when you were looking at a Christmas that saw you out of your home from like sometimes December 14th until December 28th, you're like, why am I going to decorate my place at all? So I wouldn't decorate shit when I lived in LA because I wasn't going to be around there for peak Christmas time to enjoy it.
That makes sense.
And this particular year, we are going to a little town in Illinois for a big chunk of time around Christmas. And then the day after Christmas, we'll be with my family. And there's just a bunch of other stuff going on at the end of the month. That's like, if I want a period of time where I'm like enjoying a tree and enjoying Christmas decorations, let's just do it now. Let's just have the pleasant things up now, because they'll be wasted just sitting here in the week and a half that we're not in the apartment.
Wow.
Did I successfully with logic convince you that it's sane to decorate November 17th?
I think it's fine. I mean, honestly, I want to. I'm like itching. I've got like my finger on the trigger and I'm just waiting to pull it because I get to the grocery store and Christmas music is on and I'm like, yes, it should be. This is great. There's a whole section, a seasonal section of Target, and I'm like, yes, perfect. I'm ready, but I have to pretend. There's the element of society where, everyone wants to be like, it's too early for Christmas. It's way too early. I'm like, it's never.
Yeah, I don't know.
I was ready before.
I don't know what those
Halloween.
people are
just
so
fucking
upset
do it.
about when they start to see Christmas decorations come out. And they're like, no, just don't buy it. Just what? Were you still looking for pumpkins? Shut up. Get a life. Yeah, quick question. How do you explain the passage of time to young children? Because they surely recognize signifiers of Christmas more than they recognize patience and corporate America's rush to get decorations out way too early. Like, they're not like, your children are too small. They're not going to look at the Target covered in Christmas trees and think, man, that's earlier than last year. They're going to think it must be Christmas. When is Christmas? And you have to say, 38 sleeps from now.
Yes. It's complicated because also like time, the passage of time is different for them. So my daughter is 3. Last Halloween when she was 2, she was a witch. And then immediately was so enamored with Halloween that she was like, let's do Halloween again. And I'm like, you got to wait a year. And she's like, how long is that? And I'm like, it's a third of your life. Or like at this point, she was 2. So it was like, it's half your lifetime. You have to wait a half a lifetime before we have it again. And like, that's a year is so incomprehensible to them because they change so much within that time. And you can remember like being in school where you'd be like, teachers would be like, it's almost the end of school. And you'd be like, it is? And you're like, yeah, it's 2 months away. And you're like, that's fucking forever. Why did you do that to me? And so this is the first year that like she's looking forward to holidays where she understands something coming up and she's anticipating. Ronan he's like perfect age for Christmas. And the minute we started seeing all that Christmas stuff around, Ronan was like, confused because we hadn't even had daylight savings time yet. So his first response was, "It's not even dark when you pick me up yet." And I'm like, "Yeah, that's right. That's exactly right. You remember." So we're a ways away, and Gilly is every time we go anywhere. I mean, we could be in Target and we're not even in the toy section. We're in a place where there's hair care products and there happen to be some scrunchies on a unicorn. And she's like, could I have this for Christmas? We're like, yes, because you will forget in 2 minutes what that was. If any of these stick, like if you throw all these at the wall and one of them sticks, then we'll be like, yeah, okay, that'll be a thing I get her for Christmas. But for the most part, it's just her. She knows we're close to something where she's going to get a bunch of stuff. And so she will say, is this for my birthday? Is this for Christmas? Because she also can't remember which is which. But yeah, it's hard.
Yeah.
It's hard to get them to understand.
Must be difficult for her to see all those other kids opening presents on her birthday.
I think it must be a little bit. Yeah. Well, also she might understand it better because on Ronan's birthday, she becomes insanely jealous to the point that we were like, all right, have a present. You can have one too. Now you guys each on each other's birthday, you get one gift. I have a question for you, Dan.
Great.
Do you remember I think it was probably now about 2017 when I said I had a gift for you?
That is, it's very interesting because you said that on the podcast, right? Or
Yeah.
That predates the podcast.
I think it was on the podcast. It was like,
Okay.
what's like some exorbitant amount of money you spent? And I was like, it's funny
Yeah.
you mentioned that.
You had a gift that you thought would be raring to go for me very soon.
Yes.
And for most of my professional life, the dominating question that I would get from strangers on the internet was, when are you going to make more after hours? And that has been usurped by
Was
what
Soren's
did Soren
gift real?
get you? And there were things like, I'm an old man now, and I'll like retweet the season finale of the show that I work on that I'm very proud of, or like a picture of us at the Emmys, me and the rest of the writers holding trophies, and someone will reply, yeah. What did he get you? Did he just like tell you and you're not telling us on the podcast? And so like, first of all, everybody leave me alone. Second of all, that's might not be true. I was going to say we would never not reveal what the gift was, but now that I'm saying it out loud, that'd be pretty funny if it'd be very funny if you never got me anything. It would be very funny if you did and we never told anyone what it was.
I think people have mostly given up because now the question is not, like, what did you get him? It's for a while it transferred into, was that even real? And then now it's like, why did you do that? So I think they're feeling a little hurt by it in a way that I assume you are, because I promised this thing to you for so long and have not delivered yet. Also, how can anything possibly live up to it now that it's been years?
I think, well, here's a regret that I have is that because I had, I don't know, 9 years in the mind palace to think about what this could be, I successfully guessed one aspect of it.
Yeah,
I guessed who you'd commissioned to forge this thing. And if I were less obsessed with my own cleverness and my ability to guess things, I would have just let sleeping dogs lie, because I think it would be, if I had never guessed that, then I could still live in the world where you were lying and this was a bit, and it would be a really, really good bit. You've famously turned my birthday into a bizarre spectacle with pranks.
Punishments,
just for
I feel like
everyone's
is more accurate.
Yeah, we could summarize all of the pranks that Soren has pulled, but I think the easiest way to sum it up is that my birthday is January 6th. So you can all figure out the kind of prank he does, what he thinks is funny. And this could
I
have
did the
been one of
insurrection.
those. That's right.
I had the insurrection done for your birthday.
Got out of hand. I didn't understand that one as well as some of the other ones, but like I appreciate the work that you put into it.
Thank you. Also, not out of, I mean, that's exactly how I wanted it to go. That was pretty much like from the jump, that was the plan.
Oh, interesting. But at any rate, I thought this could have fallen into the greater pantheon of Soren pranks, which if you had promised me something elaborate 7 years ago and kept dropping bizarre hints, as you'd done for a while, as you were like, I talked to the artist and it's not ready yet. Or at one point you had an update that was something was delivered, but it wasn't as good as I thought it could be. And so he is back in the lab working on it some more. You could have done that for years and it would have been a really fun gift for me.
I have done it for years. Well, I want to let you know, and I don't want you to get your hopes up too much because I've gotten messages like this before, but I got a message on Sunday, November 5th that said,
wow, remember.
Just about done and have booked an appointment to have it photographed on the 15th. So, ellipses, that's when it will be done.
Wow.
I don't know if you, so for our audience at home, because we record these early, it's past November 15th. Already.
That's
it's
right.
November 17th. Crickets. And so I at this point, I've also lost a considerable amount of faith that this will ever get done. So all I ever do is I just say, great, tell me when it's done.
Can I, and like, please don't tell me what it is exactly, but it gets so much funnier if this was something that you commissioned that made sense in 2017. If it's timeless, it'll be timeless. That's great. But if it's 2017 specific, then I might like that more. What? Can you tell me, like, is it timeless?
Yeah. Here's the deal. I think that you're probably like me in this respect. I'm not going to let that happen. Like, I'm going to drop the seeds in our life that keep it relevant.
Okay.
Long before. So it never has an expiration date. Like, I've quietly worked to make sure that this doesn't have an expiration date. But had I not done that, absolutely it would have. You would have gotten it and been like, oh. And I'd be like, do you remember? And you'd have been like, oh, okay.
It would have been so funny if it was something that like commemorated that time at the Oscars where they said the wrong name for Best Picture, where the guy is holding up, actually it's Moonlight won, forgive me. And I just had to be like, oh yeah, I guess that was a pretty big moment. Yeah, I remember that. I don't know if I would hang that poster
I thought it was going to be a
up.
bigger deal than it was. I thought we'd all still be talking about it. Yeah, that would have been great. Damn it. Like White House Down, like me, like doing something for White House Down. Being like, yeah, that's the movie that we're all going to keep watching annually.
Yeah.
We'll get together and watch it together.
Let me just say, 2017, while I'm thinking about it, not great, because I went through 2017 pop culture moments for some comedy specifics, and I had to settle on that Moonlight thing because it was just, I don't know, Stranger Things season 2. Not a great year, not one of our better years.
We were all feeling pretty blue.
We were bummed about something, I think.
Yeah, something big happened. We were all feeling pretty down in the dumps about it. We had no idea what was to come, though. We had no idea what we were in for. Biden.
It's officially time to kickstart your holiday shopping, but there's no cause for panic. Don't panic! Uncommon Goods is here to make your holiday shopping stress-free by scouring the globe for the most remarkable and truly unique gifts for everyone on your list. Whether you're shopping for mom, dad, teenagers, in-laws, or your best friends, Uncommon Goods has you covered. They're an online shop dedicated to unique and high-quality gifts made by artists and small independent businesses. I sometimes go to Uncommon Goods just to look at the stuff they have and go down rabbit holes just randomly searching their products because it is so cool and unique and interesting. And the items are often handmade or made in the US. From art and jewelry to kitchen, home, and bar, Uncommon Goods has something special to choose from for everyone. My personal experience with Uncommon Goods, if you know anything about me, you know somewhere on the list of my top 5 things that I'm into is bees. I'm really into bees, and somewhat higher on that list is puzzles. So I got a puzzle about bees for me and my sweetheart to do on these cold winter nights. We're making a bee puzzle together. It's about seeing if you can spot the queen in this giant hive of bees. It is made by someone who works with bees all the time, and we love to support local bee professionals. And it's so cool. We love puzzles, we love bees, we love supporting people. And so we have it, and we're going to do it when it gets a little bit colder out. But that's just one thing that I got from Uncommon Goods. They have these, you can order a book that has the front page of the newspaper every day for every year of someone's birthday. No matter what, you pick a random crisis-free birthday like mine, January 6th, for example, and you can get every newspaper headline that happened on that day. There's a couple that I'm not stoked about, but I'm curious. You want to know what happened on January 6th, 1990, or January 6th, 1970, 1972, and so on. We all know how numbers work. This book will tell you those details. It's a fun and fascinating conversation starter and a great gift for kids. I'm getting one for my nephew who is not allowed to listen to this podcast, and that's why I'm saying it now. To get 15% off your next gift, go to uncommongoods.com/QQ. Don't miss out on this limited time offer. That's 15% off at uncommongoods.com/QQ.
Did you want to ask me a question?
Oh, yeah.
Another question? Yeah.
So you're fully done with another in your series of non-updates about the fake gift.
I'm done with another update. Yeah. So it's,
Okay.
I mean, hypothetically, maybe I'll message and just say, hey, how'd the photography shoot go? Did you get it from all the angles or like whatever? But I think it's going to be, I don't know. I have more hope than usual that this will be done by your birthday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. I got a quick question for you, Soren.
Okay, shoot.
What is the strangest piece of media or content that you consume regularly? And I can go first if that's helpful, because strange is very vague and media and content is very vague. I will regularly read recaps of television shows I don't and won't watch. And there are some that it makes a little bit of sense. Like I've read every Vulture recap for the Walking Dead spinoff on Daryl Dixon, because a long time ago I was watching Walking Dead just like everyone else was, and then I've stopped for years. I don't know how that show ended, and there have been several spinoffs that I didn't watch, but I've been reading the recaps of this Daryl Dixon show, a show that doesn't sound good. It's an actor that I think is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he's given much to do with this character that makes him a dynamic lead. And I want to stress this again. There's no part of me that would find something in these reviews and then later watch the show because of that. That's not the itch that I'm scratching. I don't know what itch I am scratching, because it's also not about being a completionist, because if it were, then I would have been reading recaps of The Walking Dead and the other spinoffs. This is just a thing that I do.
I can't even imagine what that show would be. He is that character.
I'll tell you.
Okay.
Exterior, the sea. Daryl Dixon wakes up chained to a boat.
Okay.
He finally breaks free and lands where? France, Soren.
Oh my God.
Ooh la la. Can you believe it?
No.
And they're experimenting on the zombies to make them faster for some reason.
What?
Uh-huh. And he has to take around a little kid that someone believes is the second coming of Jesus. And they think this kid has the cure to zombieism because his pregnant mother was zombie when the kid was born, but the kid is immune. You're right. It is like Last of Us, but worse and in Paris.
Are they walking through drizzly Paris and he's got a crossbow and no sleeves on?
He doesn't have a crossbow anymore. He has one of those long, you're going to know the name of this medieval weapon that has like a pointy at the end. Not spear, but like fancier than that.
Oh, something with a long, sharp end?
Yeah.
Oh, cool. Okay. It's like some martial arts weapon.
Maybe. I think more medieval, but whatever.
Oh, this is exhausting. Okay. So is he interacting with people, and is part of it the joke? Is there at least some like lightheartedness in there where like, how is this fucking bumpkin going to deal with the sophistication of the French?
I could tell you that whatever humor there is on the show doesn't translate into recaps written by someone who doesn't seem to like it. Read by someone who's not going to watch it.
Okay. I have another question, but
Go ahead.
I don't mean to take us off of Daryl. I'm assuming that's the name of it.
Daryl Dixon.
It is called Daryl Dixon?
Yeah.
Oh, fuck this show. Okay. That is a sitcom title.
Right. It's a show that's not even trying to attract new viewers at this point.
That's like somebody had a stand-up career and then aged out of it and started a sitcom, and now we're going to name it after them and just squeeze the last little bit of juice out of them.
Yeah.
Okay. Are you also reading recaps for shows like The Real Housewives and stuff that's not narrative?
I will occasionally read recaps of, well, this makes slightly more sense than Daryl Dixon. I'll read recaps if it seems like everyone is talking about a thing. I will read a recap of Golden Bachelor or when Tom Sandoval was inescapable in the news. I was like, all right, fine. I guess I'll see what this guy's fucking thing is. Oh, okay. He's a reality sociopath. That's fine. Now I know that.
I mean, how could that not read like absolute gibberish? I think it's got to just be chaos to try and read a synopsis of that.
It is, especially for recaps for reality TV where there's a whole beautiful language and an encyclopedia of inside jokes that I am not privy to, because people who've been writing, they're the most fun and enthusiastic recaps you can read on anything. but I have not been there long enough to really get all of the references that they're making. But I'm really happy that they're being made and this community has found each other. But you might as well be reading something that occasionally dips into another language entirely.
Yeah, I can't. So there are people at my office who love these shows, love The Bachelor, love all the Vanderpump shit. And it's when they try to give me like a plot line or like something that happened in it, it's impossible. We're not speaking the same language because they have to start so far back for me to understand what's going on that it's like not worth it. Like there's Vanderpump Rules, but Real Housewives predates that. And that's where she comes from. And you have to know that she also has a restaurant and then started another restaurant with Sandoval, whatever the fuck his name is. And like, there's all these details that you have to know about Stassi and stuff. Fuck, I do know some of their names now. But that I don't have like the glossary of terms anymore. And so, or never did. And so I can't even participate. Like, it's not fun for them to try to spend time telling me what's going on just to get to like this one piece.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, well, okay, this will be a thing we never share. Well, good for you for trying to understand it, I guess.
Yeah.
I honestly, a show like Walking Dead, that feels like the perfect way to do it. I think that's way better than watching the actual show. You'd only be mad at the end of watching it, but you need to know the gist of every single episode so you understand like where we are at any given point.
I couldn't disagree more. I feel like if there's one thing behind the process of every season and spinoff of The Walking Dead, it's let's come up with some really clever ways to kill zombies. Let's come up with some really gnarly ways for humans to get in a pickle, and then let's work backwards from there. We know that we want a scene where this person has a chainsaw strapped to his arm and he's in a giant gladiator pit with zombies who are inexplicably faster and stronger than humans have ever been. Okay, so we know we're doing that. Who can we get? Oh, Daryl's available? All right, let's make a show about Daryl then. Like, they're doing it for these kills and these big stunts and spectacles. And I am making every writer and creator and designer and actor in that show furious when I just say, yeah, and I experience it by reading basically a disgruntled TV critic talk about how it's like, yeah, I guess the kills were cool, but I don't see anything going on with these characters and they're just treading water.
Yes. That last thing you said is like why I think this is the best way of doing it. There's so much filler. I watched season 2 of The Walking Dead. In fact, I know somebody who worked on it. And like I know that like you don't have as much money this season. You're going to be stuck on this farm for a while. There's going to be so many conversations about what we do with this kid we found. Yeah. Like, and also the kid we lost. Like, what are we going to do with these two? Oh no, Shane's getting angry, and it's going to take a long time for him to get angry and angry enough that we have to do anything about it. It's like, you're just like, these scenes just drag out and out to the point where I stopped watching when Negan hit somebody with a baseball bat, but we didn't get to find out who it was. And I was like, well, fuck them for making me wait. I'll just read this from now on. And so then at the end, I was like, how does Negan die? And they're like, well, we don't know. He hasn't yet. And I'm like, oh, interesting. Okay, thanks. That's all I wanted to know.
Let me know when he dies.
Okay, well.
I want to preempt anyone who's saying that I'm reading these articles instead of watching the show just to see if it's a worthy time investment to watch the show. A, I'm not going to watch it. And B, how valuable is my time in the first place that I'm reading these recaps? Like, I want to stress that I think I'm doing a weird thing. And I don't think it's a good or correct way to consume content, especially as someone in the entertainment industry. Like if
it's pretty insulting.
Yes, 1,000%.
But I don't know. You don't owe them anything, man. If you want to work on another show, you'll binge that other show and you'll do it in no time. And then you're like, okay, so
what a turn for the podcast character of Soren to make. Just you don't know creators shit.
I don't think anybody owes me anything. Let's just leave it at that.
That's fair.
All right. So I watch this is a YouTube thing that I watch. Same way. So YouTube is almost exclusively what I watch. That's how I ended up finding Taskmaster.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a show that I watch called Beard Meets Food, but meats is spelled Meats. Have you heard of this?
No.
Okay, Beard Meets Food is this British guy who I say probably can't weigh more than 110 pounds. He's very skinny looking and has this gigantic ZZ Top type beard. And he travels around first England, because that's where he's from, but then he also does a States tour where he just goes to different restaurants that have food challenges, like you can't finish this burger in 30 minutes. And he just conquers them, just beats them. And I have to say, it's disgusting to watch because, like whatever they bring out, he's going to tear it apart and then he's going to eat it in such a way that it's like kind of hideous to watch. Like he's like gulping it in. And then also it's getting all over his beard every single time because he insists on having this very long beard. And so a lot of the thing is just spent with him using a napkin vigorously wiping his beard, like wiping the hairs off of his face, basically. And very, I would say, hyper aware of the fact that he gets food all over himself because he does narration over the top of it and how hard the challenge was. And constantly talks about like how messy it is and how embarrassing that is.
Mm-hmm. All right. I am watching a video called Win $100 Cash if you can finish this pizza challenge in Maine.
Yeah.
And I need to say right off the bat, $100 is not enough money to do this to yourself. This is a very large pizza covered in meats. This man is alone at his table, drinking water and dispassionately eating this pizza. There's a cup of dipping red something. And like other people around him that aren't his friends who are just
appalled
seeing him do this.
Yeah, just other customers.
They don't want to engage because they don't want to get caught up in it.
He will engage with them too and be like, hey, do you think I can do this? And they're like, no.
They're all just like, no,
please don't.
No, thank you. I'm just here to get my normal amount of pizza, please.
And he's very, in the narrations that he does, he's so critical of himself too. Like while he's doing the challenge, he'll say things like, oh, I should have waited till it wasn't hot. He's like, how many times have I said that? I never learn. And he's getting kind of mad at himself. And he's so critical. And like he uses the same word a few times, like, oh, this is delicious. How many times have I said that? And somebody go back and count. Ugh, come on, Beard. And then he's also never prepared. Never. I will say for how unprepared he is, he usually does a pretty good job, but he's never prepared. He always sits down. The first thing he does is bite into it and be like, I should have waited till it cooled down. Then he sort of like forces himself through some very hot bites. Then he's like, I don't have any napkins.
Right.
So,
I'm watching him now like desperately ask for drinks and towels from people.
Yeah,
and it's
so
like,
that's
get your kit ready first, sir.
He doesn't ever have napkins. Sometimes doesn't even have a water next to him. And then like as he's eating, he'll be like, guaranteed, like halfway through it, he'll be like, can I have a Coke Zero or a root beer or something?
He just grabbed a Diet Pepsi.
Yeah, and they're like, sure. Because like
after quite a bit of conversation.
He needs soda so bad. And he knows he needs soda so bad every single time, but forgets to ask for it every single time. And then like halfway through, he'll be like, can I just have like a soft drink? He's just wasting valuable time being like, trying to be very polite and give etiquette to the person who's serving him and be like, do you have soft drinks? Knowing full well they do. Instead of just being like, Coke, please. He's like, right. Do you have any sort? What do you have? We have Pepsi products. Okay. Could I have a root beer? We don't have root beer. Okay. And to watch him eat it is really appalling. It's pretty gross, but he also does this thing where when he's getting close to the end, he's a slave to accuracy. So like if there's crumbs on the table around him, he scoops them all up in a pile and eats those.
What about the stuff in his beard, Soren?
Yeah. So occasionally, he gets stuff and like, if he finds it, then he will not use the napkin. He'll try and pull it out with his fingers so that he can consume it because he wants to do it right. And he nails a lot of these. I mean, like he gets there. He also sandbags everyone around him because he looks so thin. Yeah. Where like people are like, you can't do that. The waiters and stuff. He's like, you want to bet me? Like, and he'll play it up, and then eventually he does it, and he conquers these things. Sometimes it's very easy for him. And at the end, he'll be like, do you have a dessert menu?
Yeah.
And
I'm watching him at minute 14 of a 30-minute challenge, and this isn't the bag. He's going to walk away a champion.
Yeah. A lot of times he knows. I think he knows his limits and stuff. He also he has rules about like what he'll eat first, and he will never eat mushrooms until the very end. If there's it's really tough for these English breakfasts that he cut his teeth on, so to speak, because he would do these English breakfast challenges. They all have these cooked mushrooms, and he's like always just like, oh, I hate mushrooms. And he just saves them for the end because he also feels like if he eats the mushrooms, nothing goes down on top of them. Like they get stuck up higher in his chest. And he does it when he's like really panicking on a challenge. Like when it's close, you watch him wolfing down this food, and then he does these things to his body that I don't understand. Like he will stand up and jump up and down like he's compacting the food down further into his body.
Wow. And
he'll like grab his chest and push down.
That's how a cartoon character eats.
I know. It's really hideous. And then throughout the eating of it, which he's already a mess, it's already a very visceral experience. He'll say things like, I'm trying so hard right now not to shit myself. And you're like, what? I know it didn't all go through you that fast. Like, what is this all? Is this a new element that I'm not familiar with?
I'm watching this without sound, obviously, as we're doing the podcast. So I'm curious. Oh, he's just ordered dessert.
Yeah.
Does that a lot? Does an episode end with him having learned something either about the challenge or like, is it one of those food shows where before he eats the food, he's like, we're here in Portland, Maine. Portland was founded in 17 blah, blah, blah. The name big food here is lobster. Blah, 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 blah. The people are blah, 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 blah.
That's a very good question. No. In fact, generally, he doesn't know where he is. He will start an episode and like he'll start talking and be like, so we're here in, what is the restaurant called? And like someone off screen someone from the restaurant will say, and then he'll say the name and he'll be like, and so they're offering, what do you offer if I finish this? And they're like, we could have taken care of a lot of this beforehand. He's going to get a t-shirt. You're going to get your picture on the wall. These are generally the things that come up. But he's never prepared. It's so funny. But as like an eater, he's insane. Like he's so good at this. And finishes these. It never looks pretty. It's always disgusting. And he's very hard on himself watching it. It's like not the career he wants, I don't think. And he finishes every episode about the narration stops about maybe like a minute 40 before he's even done. He's like, all right, so I'll let you watch the rest of this. I'll catch you on the next one. And then you're just like listening to him eat and watching it in silence, like you were there. And it's really rough.
So weird.
Yeah, he's clearly in pain on a lot of them. And he's like, there's something going on in his stomach. He drops little hints about his normal diet when he's on these tours, where he says, I think he probably eats like a snake, where he eats all of this at once, and then he goes a week without eating. And then he goes to another one and does that challenge. And then he goes for a week without eating. It's got to be terrible for your body, but he eats all this, he consumes 6,000 calories at once, and then is like done till the next challenge, which is 4 states over.
What
am I getting out of it?
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't thought too hard about it, and I'm sort of worried that if I did, I wouldn't like the answer. I do like gorging. I like the indulgence of like eating a bunch of something at once. I like seeing these meals when they come out, how big they are and all of the different things that are there. I like thinking about what any of the, like there's fries and tater tots and gravy and some sort of cheese on them. And I'm like, yeah, I want to try that.
Wow.
And so like the first part of it is like the same thrill you would get from watching, what's his name with his donkey sauce?
Guy Fieri?
Yeah, Guy Fieri. Yeah, like when he's like traveling around to diners and stuff and you're seeing a deep fried burger and you're like, oh, that's an interesting looking thing. I would like to eat that. A lot of that when he comes out, I like hearing him describe what's on the plate and all the different stuff. And then after that, I don't know. I'm compelled to watch the entire thing to make sure he eats it all.
So that's where we diverge, because I watch so much Shout out to YouTube. I watch so much cooking content on YouTube. It's probably the thing that I watch most. I didn't include it in this particular challenge because to me, there's nothing strange about it. I think there's
Agreed.
a long, proud lineage of people who watch Food Network, and I am part of that. I love watching, for my part of the woods, catch and cook videos where people will catch a fish and then clean and cook it and prepare it in different ways. And I'll also just watch like general, like there are some chefs that I like a whole lot. There's this guy who runs a channel called Sip and Feast, who is just like, I've talked about him before. He's just like a pleasant New York, New Jersey, Long Island Italian dad who just seems like a nice guy who cooks very simple food and is kind to you. And I'll watch his shit all day. When my favorite chefs eat, I click away. I don't want to watch people eating. There's the chef who runs Outdoor Chef Life, I think. When he eats ramen, he makes the best looking ramen I've ever seen in my entire life from like fresh cut lobster. And he eats it, and I'm so uncomfortable. It's so challenging for me to watch it. And I just can't bring myself to do it. And I've never understood, like, I know mukbang is a thing. It's a style of YouTube content that is specifically people eating vast quantities of food. Not necessarily for like the challenge of it, like you're trying to do a certain amount in 30 seconds. It's just like, here is a table full of food and you are going to watch me eat it. And I've never understood who the audience is. And now once again, it's you, Soren.
But like, I will say, like, I'm sort of disappointed in the episodes where he does it no problem. Like, I want to see him in suffering. I don't know why. Like, I want to see it hurt. I want to see him like eat so much. He's like, I really, and his narrations, he'll be like, at this point, you can see I'm still enjoying it. And then later he'll be like, this is where it got really tough. And he's like, it's clear on his face, like he doesn't want to be there, that this was like, it's not fun. And I'm like, come on, you could do it. Just one more, 60 more bites.
and has he, you might have said this while I was watching the video, has he lost?
I don't know. I haven't seen one where he does, but he talks about that sometimes. Like he'll be like, obviously you've seen that I don't always get them done.
Huh.
And so I think that there probably are some where he doesn't win, but so far to date, I've never seen one. There's one other thing I want to talk to you about because you reminded me of it with cooking. That's a huge crossover for us. I love watching cooking videos. As you know, I don't eat beef, but I'll watch somebody dry age a steak for 45 minutes because or like sous vide a steak before making it. And they're like, I can't get enough of it. There's one person who I think might be a huge crossover for us that I think is so much fun to watch cook. Do you know who Maddie Matheson is?
No.
Did you watch The Bear?
Yes.
The guy who plays the one guy who's always fixing the stoves and stuff. He's got tattoos all over his body.
Yeah.
That's Maddie Matheson, and he's a chef. He's like a true
I know
chef.
They like brought in actual chefs and waiters and waitresses to work on that show as consultants and eventually cast members.
Yeah. So Maddie Matheson he's a very big personality. He cooks. He's the sloppiest cook I've ever seen. It's in the same way that I enjoy Beard Meets Food. He is, as he's like cooking, like he's just stuff slopping all over the place. He's not careful. His fingers are very clumsy. He's like getting eggshells and stuff and things. But he makes really great looking food. I mean, by the end, he makes something that's like presentation wise and everything. It's clear that he's trained because like you watch him chop up an onion or herbs or aromatics or something, like he's so good at it. But like for anything else, his fingers are just giant meat sticks like he has no handle over. And he's also very loud and abrasive in a way that I find charming.
Great.
He is the definition of a slob, but I think like he's steered into that skid. Like he likes being that. And his stuff is so fun to watch.
Yeah,
it's really enjoyable.
Great.
Yeah. There's also one that I want you to look at because he does like Maddie Matheson.
He's in a scene from The Bear with John Mulaney that I've rewatched 1,000 times. I love that scene.
At the Thanksgiving, the Christmas or Thanksgiving, I guess.
The $500 will you invest $500 in it? It's just a perfect scene.
Dang it, I can't find it. But there's one where he goes ice fishing, and brings 2 friends with him to go ice fishing. And
is it Maddie tries Icelandic delicacies?
No, it's not it.
I haven't watched it yet. I'm just gonna say, based on thumbnail, it looks like it might be. But you're the expert. That's fine.
Yeah, maybe it might be it.
Okay.
And he rides a snowmobile around a lot in it. He's a very funny guy. So there's like one point where he brings some friends up there who I don't know if they're chefs or not. I don't think they are. He's very critical of their food the entire time. And then once they get the auger in the ice, they cut a little hole. He sits down with a buddy. They've got these like little kid fishing poles, and it's very quiet. And he turns to his friend and is like, "So when would you say was the first time your dad disappointed you?" And I was like, "Yeah, that's a great. I'm stealing that from now on. I'm asking people that when there's like silence." He's so funny.
All right.
Yeah, check him out.
Yeah, I'm going to as soon as I'm done with this podcast. But I swear to God, there was something earlier I said I'm going to do when the podcast is done. Fuck! I should have recorded this.
Well, I think that's the end of our podcast. I think that'll do it for today. You can follow us on Blue Sky. I'm going to lead with that one today. You can follow me at Soren Bowie. I think Daniel is, I don't think you stayed with DOB. I think you're Daniel O'Brien over there.
At Blue Sky?
Yeah.
Let's see. Daniel O'Brien Banksy.social.
Yeah. Yep. Daniel O'Brien. You follow us on Blue Sky. Daniel, I don't think to date has posted a single thing. If you wanted to go follow us on Twitter, you can follow Daniel at DOB_Inc. or X. You can follow him at DOB_Inc. You can follow me not there at all because I stopped using it.
You're not on Twitter anymore?
My account's still there because I'm so precious about jokes and things like that I had on there. But I took it off my phone. I stopped using it.
Wow. How do you feel?
Pretty good, actually. So Ezra Klein convinced me to stop doing it. Listening
from
to
the
Ezra
Search
Klein.
Engine podcast.
Yes, that's when I stopped. PJ Vote, Search Engine. If you haven't listened to it, it's a very good podcast. And
that's so funny. We
Ezra
both listened to that
Klein
podcast. I listened to the episode that you're talking about, and in that episode, Ezra Klein convinces PJ Vogt to delete Twitter, and PJ's like, "And I'm very happy to tell you, I did delete Twitter, and I'm happier, and my life is better." I was like, "That sounds good. I'm going to do that too." And I deleted Twitter for 15 days.
That's a very good PJ Vote.
Oh, thank you.
That's wonderful. You can follow quick question at QQ_Soren and Dan. Sometimes there are short clips of videos of Dan and I on there. You can check those out. Our email is QQ with SorenandDaniel@gmail.com. You can also find us on YouTube. You can find full videos of us doing this podcast occasionally, and that's at youtube.com/@QQ podcast. Our theme song is by Me Rex. You can find their music anywhere you listen to music. Pandora. Does anyone still use Pandora? Anywhere you listen to music, but you can also find their music at merex.bandcamp.com for full albums.
It came, you know where I saw Pandora? I'm going to just keep stretching this outro. The new car that I got, it's one of the like preloaded apps on the screen, and that's some good business. That's some good business doing there. When we were at Cracked, you really hope you can get a Cracked widget on like Spirit Airlines or something. So we were just like part of their package.
Yeah, it's a dream.
Bacon, our CFO, if you're listening, get quick question on cars.
Oh, that'd be awesome. Yeah,
cars and planes.
Like good cars, though. I don't want it I don't want it like in an F-150. I don't think we'd be that demographic.
No.
I think
you want the person who's like showing off the car to be like, this is your heated seats, this is your heated steering wheel. As you can see, you've got GPS, you've got Spotify, 138 episodes of this one podcast by these two guys.
They'd have to listen. It's that U2 album all over again. You have to listen to it. You can't take it off. All right, bye.
Bye.
I've got a quick question for you, alright? I wanna hear your thoughts, I wanna know what's on your mind. I've got a quick question for you, alright? The answer's not important, I'm just glad that we could talk tonight. So what's your favourite? How did you get? When will I be remembered? Was it ever? Where did all go? Why do we know? Oh, forget it. Soren Bowie, Daniel O'Brien. Two best friends and comedy writers. If there's an answer, they're gonna find it. think you'll have a great time here.